and I think that it works temporarily, but not over a long period of time. What they do is they try to be somebody they're not, and they try to play games, and they try to, I'm going to do this because it's going to get this certain response from this female who I'm interested in.
Oh, I see.
And women do the same thing. I'm going to do this because I want to appear mysterious, and I want to do that.
It's manipulative.
Well, not just that, but okay, will it work? Maybe,
but it's
for the short time.
Right.
We all regress towards the mean.
Right.
We always go back to our normal way of life. I think the people who are successful in dating and find somebody who they really connect with are people who are just genuine. They are who they are. And those, you establish long-term relationships in that sense. Because, I can play these games. I can manipulate this person. I can be mysterious. I can get her to chase me. But then we're now 5 months into this, and now I'm regressing back to how I usually am.
Right. When does the real you come out?
Right. Yeah. If she's not attracted to who I really am now, she's not going to be attracted to who I really am 6 months from now.
All right. I see where you're going with this. All right, listeners. This is where we're drawing lines in the sand. I want you on Team Jim. Okay. Let me make my argument about why that's not going to work. If that's the case, Nick, don't dress up for your first date. Just come in sweatpants and a football jersey. Don't put on cologne. Don't shave. Don't try. Don't pay for the meal. Don't do anything that's abnormal. My argument is, in order to get, I think in the intricate and complicated psychological thing that is human courtship and mating rituals, I think that there's a lot of back and forth, and I think you kind of have to augment and falsify some things. Falsify sounds bad, but I guess I'm already killing myself here. They're switching over to Team Nick. I believe that we already sort of put forward the best version of ourselves, and I think that we artfully try to navigate those early waters. Because here's my argument. Okay. The nature of this relationship is fundamentally changing every day of those 4 weeks of that first month. Who you're dating or who you're with in a year, you behave differently with than you do on day 5. If you approach the girl that you've been on 2 dates with the same intimacy and familiarity as you would a year and a half in, because that's the real you, you're going to creep her out. And she's going to go, hey, I don't want to meet your parents. Or, like, hey, I don't want to come to your house for Christmas. Or you're like, hey, don't leave your toothbrush at my house or whatever. And so I think that there's like a propriety of distance and boundaries that you're allowed to sort of grow into. So my recommendation to him is explore that distance, explore those boundaries, because if that could be a female signal that you are coming on too strong. If she's pulling back and being quiet and she's not being very, affectionate towards you, or she seems to not be very receptive, or she's cold, I think you need to read that, because that could be her signaling, dude, you're trying too hard. Like, I'm not as invested in this as you are. You're taking it too seriously. What if he goes out and he says, hey, I want you to be my girlfriend. She's like, I've kind of been stepping away from this, and you haven't picked up on the signal. So join Team Jim, because you won't get your heart broken, and you'll be the Fonz. That's what I want everybody to be. I want you to be the Fonz, wear a leather jacket, and don't get your heart broken.
Okay, I also want him to wear a leather jacket.
Oh, okay, all right.
And dress up for first dates,
okay.
Obviously.
Okay.
But point taken. I think I can concede a little bit of my point. I think I think the somewhere in the middle.
It's okay.
Is a good
Come
thing.
over here to Team Jim.
No,
come on over. There's plenty of space.
That will never happen.
You can do it.
But
it's an open chair.
Yeah. But no, I do think, obviously, yes, you're going to put your best foot forward. And yes, if you're picking up on signals, of course, you can kind of adjust a little bit to kind of meet this person where they're at. My main point is, don't lose sight of yourself. Don't be somebody you're not. Be you.
Be authentic, but read the game, man. He's reading Blitz, and he's saying, like, is now the time to go for it? And I'm like, no, she's clearly pulling away. You need to investigate. Like, and I think that you need to, like, get up to the snap count here and get down to 1 and see if they jump the line. Like, these are a lot of sports metaphors. We just lost 100% of our female listeners. I apologize. My point is, I think you need to read the situation carefully. If she seems like she's pulling back, I think you need to investigate that. I would not advise now's the time to go for it. Like, I don't see that action on the field. So I don't know, but I see your point. Like, don't be fake and start deciding to pretend like you're somebody less caring than you really are, or like that you're not invested in this and pretending like you don't care and you're just like, cavalier about the whole thing. If that's not authentically you, you're going to misrepresent yourself. And if she does fall for you, she fell in love or became attracted to a very fake or caricature version of you. Right. And now you have to undo that over time. And that's actually really good advice. I'm going to come over to Team Nick a little bit here because when I used to do marriage therapy, that was a very common thread, was the person that was represented during the dating time was fundamentally different than the person who shows up in the marriage later on when you're trying to like budget and
right.
like live your life and decide which kind of cereal to buy. Like
right.
That's when it gets real. And there's a huge misrepresentation that happens because we're afraid of losing the relationship. But I think your point is it's better to just go ahead and just get honest now because this is going to happen later and it's going to hurt more. So just come out now and find out if it's a good match.
Absolutely.
All right. I'll come over to Team Nick.
Okay.
Right.
So we found some middle ground.
Yeah, I think we did.
Good.
And hey guys, just a reminder, if you thought of a question during this podcast that you'd like us to take a look at, you can go ahead and tweet that to @podtherapyguys or come down to our website, podtherapy.net. Submit your questions to us. We'll read it live on the show and we'll give you our best answer.
Okay, that's all the time that we've got for this week's session, but remember that pod therapy isn't something you should keep to yourself. Help us reach others by sharing this episode and help the people in your life by checking in on them and offering an open ear. You never know whose life might be changed by simply being available. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Jim Jobin.
And this has been Pod Therapy. Thanks, and we'll see you for your next appointment next week.